Yeah. Welcome, friends. It's my great pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, our own Mr. MG Kodandram, IRS, and who retired as an assistant director. It was very huge task to segregate salient features of his excellent professional career and to bring few before this audience. But I'll just brief about his academics. He is BSc LLB with postgraduate diploma in business administration, IPR laws, as well as cyber laws and cyber forensics. I had skipped many of his qualifications due to shortage of time. He has authored several books related to or highlighting GST, various tax laws. Presently, he is master trainer for GST and advisor and resource person for many government as well as semi-government organizations. I think this much information or intro is enough for Mr. MG Kodandram. And now I request Mr. MG to start his session. Thank you and welcome, sir, because he will be dealing with a very difficult topic in my sense to correlate PDP bill and RTI, and by his sheer expertise we will see how this difficult topic is made simple. So floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Navi, Milimaye, and all the entire team of FTPPI and dear listeners. Today, we are comparing the PDP bill, which is going to become law, and RTI Act, which is already a force to reckon with from 2005 onwards. How they interplay. Why? What is the necessity of comparing them? When you look in, PDP bill speaks of fundamental rights. So also RTI Act. RTI Act speaks of Article 19 predominantly and PDP bill Article 21. Then Article 21 and Article 19, both of them are fundamental right. What is the fight that is possible, or what is the comparison that need to be done? Both of them have an element of personal information. Yes, any information with a public authority is also a personal information. So today, I will concentrate the privacy aspects in both the acts and try to compare whether they will have any kind of loggerhead fight or they go in harmony. That's the purpose, because PDP bill still to be enacted and RTI bill is already a law. There are many case laws. PDP bill, we have yet to enter that arena. So there, what are the pros and cons? We will try to discuss in a systematic way. This is how I plan my talk. Any questions you can ask me. I'll be happy. It's a very small and very learned people's team. So we will take it at the end also. Doesn't matter, as you like. You know, in a democracy, who is the ruler? People are the rulers. Who are the ruled? People are the ruled. We are the kings, we are the servants. So we make the law, we execute the law, got the law executed by the selected bureaucracy on us. And if there is a fight between the rights of the citizen and the execution, we go to court of law. Court of law will decide who is correct, whether the law used by the executive is correct or people's version is correct. Which version is correct? This is normally what the democracy should do. It's the rule of law which predominates, and our constitution gives maximum credence to the individual rights. Fundamental rights are individual rights. They are inalienable rights. They at any cost, government cannot do any activity or public are not allowed to do anything that will violate the fundamental rights of the citizen. We normally feel why rights should predominate. There was no fundamental duty, you know very well. Let me not get into that. People say at that time there was no need of any duty, because if we were doing duties only for so many kind of years, so we were burdened it. So they opened up saying the rights. There is a public right also, directive principles, where public rights, but predominant rights are fundamental rights. In this, protection to life is under Article 21. It talks about personal liberty, privacy. Article 21 is there from the beginning of the Constitution, 1950 onwards. But it was recognized as a fundamental right. Privacy or personal information was recognized as a protection to life, Article 21 fundamental right, after the Puttaswamy judgment. And later on, PDP bill has been heralded and it's going to come. We are in the queue waiting for this to become an act. That's one part. In the meanwhile, we have Article 19, which talks about protection of certain rights regarding speech and all. Under Article 19, government shall give the information has been held from 1950 itself as a fundamental right. If you look into the earlier case, I think that Times India, that's some name is there. I don't remember immediately. In that famous case, in the, whether the fundamental rights should be amended, or any amendment carried out in any part of the constitution or any order, if it has an indirect effect on the constitution article, then still it is violation of fundamental rights. So that is the sea change made in that case. I am not able to recollect that case immediately.
That case is Keshwanand Bharti.
Not Keshwananda Bharati.
Then Maneka
Times
Gandhi.
India Group's case,
Okay.
Times India was known as some name. You can tell me that. Okay? It's not Keshwananda Bharati. It is a fight between the Foreign Trade Policy, that is Foreign Trade Control Act, where they amended and reduced the import of paper into India. Supreme Court said, no, you cannot do it. It is a violation of a fundamental right, because right to get that and communicate with the public is the fundamental right, Article 19.
Then you're talking, I think you're talking of Indian Express case.
Not Indian Express case, it's
No?
a Times of India
Okay.
case. I'll come back to it, don't worry. I will recollect it. Times of India Group's name, if you know, that is the thing. So there, why I am stressing that case is, from the beginning itself, Article 19 was treated as a fundamental right, so also Article 21. But privacy is a part of Article 21 came only after the Puttaswamy judgment. Till then, it was not at all treated as a fundamental right. It was one of the rights, but not a fundamental right, according to the judgments in the court. But in Article 19, there was no choice for the people to enforce it, because when the information is not coming from the government, they cannot go to court and get the redressal. So they said, we shall have a practical regime, and that practical regime read with Article 19(2), where restrictions, reasonable restrictions came through RTI Act. So what I wanted to say is, RTI Act was from the beginning treated as a fundamental right by the courts, but after the Puttaswamy judgment only, this privacy has become a fundamental right. The outlook of the Supreme Court has changed then. Okay, that's the very important point. Why that changed, I'll come to that. How that was become prominent earlier, why it was not, that also we will discuss. But today I am going to concentrate on the objectives of the RTI Act. I will not look into more of that objectives. You people might have read a lot of case laws also. But I am going to look into the exemptions, that to one particular case law after the Puttaswamy judgment, where Supreme Court itself has discussed the interplay between the privacy in the RTI Act and the privacy in the PDP bill. Those parts we will concentrate, and we will try look forward what are the amendments that need to be done, so that there is no fight between them. There is clarity in law. That's what I plan to. So all other things, there may be plenty of RTI cases, all that I am not going to discuss, because it has no relevance. Only after the Puttaswamy judgment, how the courts have handled it, that too if the highest court has handled it, That is the precedence. All others are of no consequence at all. So that's what I'm going to discuss. So exemptions under RTA Act, what is that? There, personal information. And there is a third party handling of issues that we will try to compare with the PDP bill. Then case law recommendations. Recommendations to the best of my ability, I've tried to give. It needs further implications. This is what Article 21. I don't go to Putta Swami. You might have heard of them from umpteen number of people. But privacy has been declared as a fundamental right. What will happen to the earlier period? Earlier period, courts have never held them as fundamental rights. They were rights. That's all. Now it has become a fundamental right. Then it should be met with guaranteed right to the citizen. If it is violated, you can seek remedy under Article 32 or 226 of the Constitution. So that is the advantage. And it is to be enforced directly by the highest courts to protect the citizens' privacy. That's what is the change of the outlook. How this happens? This is what I wanted to tell you. For the earlier period, was there no privacy? When you look into the privacy aspects, it has direct connection with the information flowing from one person to another, or one group to another, or one country to another, whatever you want, you can say, from one person to another. Similarly, any information, how it was traveling earlier, it was in a very snail pace, snail mail, or whatever you want to call. I keep on saying it is like bullock cart. If somebody wants to communicate with somebody else, somebody has to run from one village to another village to communicate. It was very, very difficult. Information transformation, transferring the information was very, very difficult as compared to it. So it's also mentioned as pigeon. We used to have pigeons to send messages. Do you remember? Now we have come to post. Earlier, it was barefoot mail runner who used to give the information. Runners we had. Today we have email. So you can imagine what I wanted to explain to you is, though the privacy is very, very important for an individual, it was not that threatening to the individual. It was more or less limited to secluded places because the transfer of information was not accelerated mode. It was not in the mode what we are seeing today. Due to change in the technology, digital technology, the cyberspace, the whole universe has become one small village. We are facing this. The privacy information is flying off left, right, and center. In no time, the whole world can get that information. Thereby, the danger to privacy has increased multi-floor. It is beyond any control. To that extent, the privacy has threatened the individual's existence itself, and thereby the outlook need to be changed depending upon the media with which we were using it. So when you were in the bullock cart days where information sharing was difficult, now you can't adopt that analogy. Why? We will look into. But RTA Act prior to PDP bill was also a fundamental right. It was answered by the courts because courts took a lot of time. They said, no, you handle it. So we had a practical regime where within a time frame, they have to answer. The government will give the information to the citizen so that we can have right to information, get the proper information, and try to curb the corruption. That's the main purpose. Bring transparency in the administration. So that was the situation. Now you see, this is what I wanted to tell you, the new situation. Earlier, we were only citizens secluded in an area corner. Today, netizens, it's gone. Today, it's a global common. Today, what I speak here could be seen across the globe in no time. So also the privacy matters. So also the fake information. So also whatever very important secret messages could be lost. It cannot be hidden at all. So open participation by all. You can't control them. You see the ransomware that has happened in US recently. The entire US can come to a halt. So accessible to the entire population. India has been the major outsourcing destination. Digital data processing is going on unabated. And if we don't keep up the privacy of others, we may lose the business also. Offers greater economic efficiency, no doubt. It's intangible, extreme mobility. There, these are all positive things. Thereby, the negatives, you kindly look at it. Cyber crimes, less said the better, because FDPPI and our Naviji has spoken umpteen number of times, the increase in cyber crime, cyber terrorism, and cyber war day in and out. So this is the downside. This is the upside. Now, earlier, though my privacy is leaked, the victim is not hurt. There was a need of a physical presence of the perpetrator of crime as well as the victim, and a physical element presence is available. Today, we do not know who is the victim. We do not know who is the perpetrator of crime and how the crime is committed. What is the crime committed? How to present it? Because I took some sessions with the help of our Naviji on cyber forensics. So there, it's a challenging issue, very, very difficult to handle today. How to combat this irregular, illegal flow of data? Unless I give a fundamental right, say it's a fundamental right because of the changed scenario, and it should be protected at all costs. Otherwise, we will have victims galore all over the world, not only in India. Everybody losing everything. And there is cyber crime going unabated. So that's the danger. So there's a complete disrespect for the national boundaries. So nations have to keep, unfortunately or fortunately, the laws are sovereign in nature, territorial in nature, applicable to within India. So also various privacy bills. So we need to have an international understanding. I think it will be next regime we may have to express, like our World Trade Organizations, World Customs Organizations, Universal Postal Union. Similarly, here one union may come. We will wait for it. Or some other union may tag this also as a information. So enormous potential for anonymity is there. Pseudonymous is there. It has become a paradise for the criminals. And if my information goes to dark nets, what will happen here? You can imagine. I'm no way, I don't know who is doing crime, where he is doing crime, if I don't have the possession of any proper law to protect me. Where do I seek help? And therefore, it has been rightly held to be a fundamental right, depending because of this changed scenario, the crime scene area. Okay, this has really impacted my life also. I was one of the best investigators in my department in 80s and 90s. After 90s, I started losing my control. They said, Ram, what is this? You are not able to investigate, because there was change in the, I was like a fish out of water. I do not say I was fish of water. Water was there, but it was mixed with digital waters. No, I had to swim with the digital waters. There, my National Law School came to my rescue, where I added one more graduation and learned some tricks of cyber law. And Mr. Navi was my first of the teachers who taught me in 95 or 97, around that. So again, first batch I was there with Navi's leadership, stewardship in National Law School. So I got some lessons, which I'm trying to give it to you. Then I again got the privilege of writing my cyber forensic manual for my department. So to that extent, I could manage the traditional way of investigation with the digital way of investigation. So this is how, unless we change according to the circumstances, we will not be useful. We will lose our primacy. We need to be in tune with the time and requirements. That's what I always say. We should keep on changing our learning habits and keep abreast with the latest of the latest. Thereby, I am able to retire as a successful officer. So that's my journey, where this flow also has impacted my work. Now we will try to compare it with the picture. Here, this picture I don't have to say. Now it's a fundamental right. I am the principal. They have to listen to me. fiduciary is there or processor of a fiduciary. Now it's my full right. They have to listen to me. All that of the PDP bill I will avoid. But to oversee all this, we have a data protection authority. What is protected is privacy protection in the data flow. Data flow go unabated, no problem. If there is an element of privacy there, then it has to be the principal's prerogative to preserve it. So that is the PDP bill is going to do. Sir, as against this, what is the RTI is going to do? Kindly look in here. Here, instead of netizen, we have a citizen. Here, principal is replaced by a citizen. Citizen, it's also a fundamental right. It's fundamental right from the beginning. It is any person can apply, seek information from public authority. Public authority within the time limitations has to give that information to the citizen. Means it is the citizen's right to get the information which is in possession of the public authority. For this also, there is an overseeing authority, Central Information Commission or State Information Commission, as the case may be. So both of them are identical, it appears from the picture. But the difference is, here, public authority is a subset of all fiduciaries. Kindly note, public authority is also a fiduciary. It is a subset of entire fiduciary and processors. Public authority is a subset. Why I said it? And public authority is a limited one, handled mostly by the government or governmental agencies. Today, governmental agencies are there, or certain service providers on behalf of the public authority are also treated as public authority. I will not go into the definition of a public authority in RTI Act, which is of not concern now. So public authority is a subset, but principal and citizen. Citizen is having, as a citizen, he can ask any information, but if it is also protected by the principal, how citizen will have to manage with the principal, how it is managed in the law between the citizenship and a principal. First of all, I am a principal also, I am also a citizen. So where, how, what role the law has to give me, that's what we are going to look into. Article 19(1)(a) and all that, I don't want to read further, you know very well. It's mainly to promote transparency and accountability, whereas that is life, right to life. That's more important. By looking into the articles itself, whether right to freedom of speech is important or right to life is important. Whether there is really a fight, we will see. Then we will come to some judgment. These are all the objectives. I'll skip them because you are all good at RTI Act. You are all legal luminaries. I don't want to disturb that. It's only to avoid corruption, because what is happening with the public authority is available. So well-informed citizen is better than uninformed citizen. That's all the main part. And there will be participation of the citizen possible in a useful way. So RTI was information. So in RTI, subject to the provisions, all citizens shall have a right to information. We can equate citizen with principal, right? Because Indian PDP bill will have citizens getting it. It is PDP bill information is not extended to any person other than the individual, because it is an individual with his identity inside, that they are only treated as that. So we can equate citizen with that. But my public authority is a part of fiduciary. It is also a fiduciary. To put it in one word, information not open to anyone other than the citizen. That's very, very important here. Here also, it is open to the citizens only. If a foreigner asks, no information will be given. If a company asks, no information will be given under RTI Act. Only individual can ask. In principle, individual can protect his rights of his personal privacy information, right? In this, what is section 2F information talks? Kindly look in here. Information with a public authority means it may be records, documents, press releases, circulars, logbooks, memos, all that where government office records are there. All of them are there, including data in electronic form. Sir, here you are saying right to information, all the informations to be given. There you are saying privacy information not to be given. Is there any legal exemption given in RTI Act towards this privacy bill? There we will start moving. And secondly, people are under the impression, especially my government officers, I am keep on talking to them from last 15 years almost, that whatever said here, records, documents, press releases, circulars, logbooks, etc., are only the container. They are not the information. Information means contained in this material in any form. They are not the material, they are the only containers. Don't worry about the container. What is the content inside, that you should see whether that content can be given or not. So what is information that should be given to the public depends upon not on the containers, depends on the content. So you should resort to section 8 where exemptions are there. You should concentrate on 8. Only if it is givable under 8 read with 10 third-party information, then you can think of giving it, not otherwise. So there is no freedom totally, as it's not an absolute right, to put it in legal terms, means it is having its own reasonable restrictions in place under RTI Act. That's what I wanted to conclude. So RTI Act is not an absolute right what we think of. It is a reasonably restricted rights. There are restrictions. Merely looking into the container, don't give the information. Try to look what is the content, whether it is givable or not. Kindly make a judgment. Now we will try to look into big issues. Public authority holds the information under RTI Act. Here public authority also treated as a fiduciary. I have told you is a subset. So just look into this. This is open to all citizens. Here citizens plus other persons are also eligible at certain circumstances. Here personal information not defined in RTI Act. Personal information word is there, but it is not defined. In PDP bill, it is there. It's known to you. But the same exempted from disclosure under section 8 and 10. This personal information is exempted under section 8 read with 10. What are the provisions? How it is interpreted, I'll tell you. Here, principal the owner, but nobody else other than the principal can play except certain exemptions that may come in later. Information held both in traditional and digital form are covered. The government office may have it is in the paper pen method as well as in data. In a PDP bill, yes, it is the situation. Both traditional information as well as digital data can be protected. Fiduciary is not defined in the RTI Act, but fiduciary term is there, but fiduciary has been defined in the PDP bill. So kindly note, there are two definitions that are missing, which I will try to conclude at the later time. Treated as a fundamental right from the beginning, treated as a fundamental right after the Justice Puttaswamy judgment. Why? All that historical developments and the technological developments you have seen. To be frank with you, you know how we were. Production by the masses was there. Now it is mass production. Now we are going to industry 4.0, where artificial intelligence and machine learnings are becoming a way of life. So there, even human interference, physical intervention will be least or may not exist also. So to that level, we are making automatic, and therefore crimes also will be automatic. Criminals, victims getting punished also automatic. Unless you provide a leak-proof protection, it will not help. Kindly note, we have to safeguard the victims, protect the victims. All public authorities are data fiduciary, but all data fiduciary are not public authority. Kindly note. So this is what differences I've tried to make, major differences. Now, section 8, I will come. In section 8, no obligations to give any information. Those A, B, C, D, E, F are of not much important to me. Sovereignty, security, strategic, scientific, economic, contempt of court, breach of privileges, confidence of the government, impede, all that protections are there. Today, I will not discuss each one of them because it will take hours together. So I will go to directly to two things. One is fiduciary relationship. I've told you this is not defined, but what is this fiduciary relationship? Means if you are going to a government hospital, you may share your information, personal information there. That is a fiduciary relationship. Similarly, as a income tax payer, when you give your income tax information to the officer, it is a fiduciary relationship, isn't it? You have the confidence that they will not leak out. So that is one of some of the examples of fiduciary. It can go on. So fiduciary relationship need not be other than public authority. Yes, that's more rampant. But here it's also limited. But it is the duty of the public authority who are also treated as fiduciary under the PDP bill to protect these informations. Citizens, even though if there is maybe exemption, but if they leak it on their own, it is not only a violation of IT Act, PDP bill also may take into cognizance. We do not know. They cannot leak such information. The second one, endanger life or physical safety of any person or identity source of information that may not come more. For me, the I, information which relates to personal information, the disclosure of which has no relationship to any public activity or interest. Means any personal information where it has no bearing on the public interest can be denied, can be said, no, we will not give. That's what PDP bill is saying. Sorry, our RTI bill act is saying. Interest with would cause unwarranted invasion of the privacy of the individual. You can think the law made in 2005 has identified the privacy aspects, available informations available about the privacy of the individual in a government office. It wanted to protect. The intent of the legislation is very much clear. I read it. Information which relates to personal information, the disclosure of which has no relationship to any public authority or interest, would cause unwarranted invasion to the privacy of the individual unless there is a rider. CPIO, SPIO, or appellate authority can give if there is a public interest. Means there must be a reason for him, and that reason should be not individual profit. It should be in the public interest. Then they may allow. But the chances are very meager. Sir, this law came in 2005. There are plenty of informations that have already been come out. Each government, each court has given different decisions. Yes, it has happened. I tell you what is a privacy matter, what is not a privacy matter. Each court has decided in its own wisdoms, and Supreme Court also has used this wisdom. Now, for me, they are of no relevance because once we have brought Puttaswamy judgment, how Supreme Court is dealing with the privacy matters, that only matters because the Supreme Court has treated it, considered it to be a paramount importance as a fundamental right, and therefore how they are dealing. The other aspect we need to look in, the privacy information is always pertaining to some third party, isn't it? When a citizen asks the authority, it will be about B. When he wants information about B, he has to, the public authority has to notify the third party. This is the information he is asking. It appears to be confidential. It's your personal privacy information. Can I share it? You have to give voice to him. You have to give a personal hearing. Only when he says yes, you can give. Otherwise, you have to take a decision whether you want to give or not. Means there is no easy flow of privacy information under RTI Act also. There may be certain violations, people treating something as a privacy or not a privacy. There we need to say what is a privacy information or personal information, what is not a personal information. The defect is in the RTI Act, we have not given the definition of personal information and also the fiduciary. If we define them in line with the PDP bill, then we will be justifying this also, provided that except in the public interest, disclosure outweighs. Such situations are very, very difficult. In fact, recently there is a Delhi court. I think I'll come back to that. I'm having it in the slide. Yes, kindly wait. So this is what very important about the privacy matters in RTI Act. What is this case? Whether Supreme Court has got any instance where after the Puttaswamy judgment, whether it has handled any RTI Act relating to privacy was my point of interest, because that alone shows how courts are holding. Because highest court, if it holds, that's the law for the land. That's the precedent, binding precedent for every one of us. All others are of no consequence at all. When we looked into, we have a case, very beautiful case. Luckily, Puttaswamy, one of the judges in the Puttaswamy court, was also heading this bench. Supreme Court in civil appeal, there is, one second. In civil appeal 10044, order dated 13/11/2019, in the Subhash Chandra Agarwal, government as CPIO of Supreme Court itself versus Subhash Chandra Agarwal. Here, I am not going into the nitty-gritties of what information was asked and all that. Whether Supreme Court is covered under RTI Act was the question. The court said yes, but what to be given or not has to be decided. That principles only I will discuss. I will not go into the facts of the case and all that. Okay? Because we have to be very brief and pointed what we want to say. The respondent seeks to answer the question, how transparent is transparent enough under Right to Information Act? What is the information I can give, what I cannot give for a privacy? That's what the petitioner or the respondent seeks to get it. So that's also our question today. In that, how it is recognized, Supreme Court is para 40, I read. The right to privacy, though not expressly guaranteed in the Constitution, is now, it's also recognizing, see, is now recognized as a basic fundamental right by decision in the Puttaswamy judgment. It is intrinsic part of the right to life and liberty guaranteed under Article 21, recognized under several international treaties, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, all that you know very well. Then it goes on to say, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. So Supreme Court has clearly clarified. Yes, it appears prima facie there is a clash between them, but there is nothing like that. It is privacy is of paramount importance. So Supreme Court has held like that. We will look into other parts of the Supreme Court judgment. So the judgment recognizes that everyone has a right to the protection of law against such interference or attack. Mr. Chandrachud, in his main judgment, para 41, the same judge who sat with the Puttaswamy writes, 8(1)J, he has referred the very basis which we are discussing today, highlight that the right to privacy is entrenched with the constitutional status in Part 3 of the Constitution, thus providing a touchstone on which validity of executive decisions can be assessed and validity of law can be determined. Whether it to be given or not should be judged with this as the mark. This observation highlights the status and the importance of the right to privacy as a constitutional right. So now I will read the important other part of it. Yeah. What is this? Okay. Yeah. Reading the aforesaid judicial precedent, I will not go in full details. It says what are the personal information. That's what I am important. I wanted to tell you whether they are personal information for PDP bill also. Then yes, They are both in line. That's what I wanted to read. Name, address, physical, mental, psychological status, marks obtained, grades, answer sheets are all treated as personal information. Professional records, including qualification, performance, evaluation reports, ACRs, disciplinary proceedings, are all personal information. Medical records, treatment, choice of medicine, list of hospitals, doctors visited, findings recorded, including that of the family members of the public servant, information relating to assets, liabilities, income tax returns, all of them, borrowings, are all personal information. Such personal information is entitled to protection. Unwarranted invasion of privacy and conditional access is available if the third party is satisfied or public interest is met. So here, the things are very, very clearly laid out. So the objective of the PDP bill meets the RTI's aspirations of the aspiration 81J, but there is need of slight changes in the law so that this, if there is any ambiguity to interpret, that's also being lost, so that there is leak proof or foolproof law is available. There are plenty of cases, I have closed them, that I don't want to read because they are all prior to this. Later to it, there's one more judgment from the Delhi High Court, which is very, very important. In one of the cases, Pratibha Singh from Bangalore, she was our counterpart in the national law, I think Bangalore Law College. She is the judge in the Delhi High Court. So she has written very good judgment. Disclosure of interest necessary only when personal information sought. Actually, she gave the judgment for personal information. You should tell me the reason. So people later on argued, RTI says reasons need not be given. Then she said, if it is a personal information, you have to disclose the interest and what is the public interest you should establish. Then only we can consider it. Otherwise, no. Kindly read this. Disclosure of interest necessary only when personal information sought under RTI Act. So she had to clarify her judgment. Delhi High Court clarifies its recent ruling. The court explained that the information sought was clearly protected under 81J of the Act, which provides such information which constitutes personal information is invasive privacy of individuals. So 6.2 RTI Act says that an applicant making request for information shall not be. So, sir, why do you ask in this? It's a personal matter. There, unless there is a public interest, what is your public interest to get the information? That should be given. So unless that is given, it is not possible. The other information which I would like to say is, in the PDP bill, the person and his data, both of them can be hidden, can be secured. But as far as RTI is there, the name of the person is already available. It is a published under Section 4, proactive disclosure. Who are the public authorities? What are they doing? All of them have to be disclosed. So there is no question. But his data can be taken away so that his information need not, they will not get the connected data, identity data. So there still protection is possible according to me. Then one more clause which is very, very important is PDP bill clause 96 or section 96, whatever you want to call. It says, save otherwise provided in this act, the provisions of this act shall have effect notwithstanding anything inconsistent therewith, any other law for the time being in force, or any instrument having effect by virtue of any law other than this act. So there is a protection given. That's also very important. So friends, in public authority, we are worried about the personal data of the people who are keeping it. It need not be of the public servants alone. It may be anybody going to a hospital. His privacy also to be there. The public authority who is running the hospital will be both as a public authority as well as a fiduciary under PDP bill. Two obligations he will be serving. So there we should be very careful. So by looking into this, if it is general information, do not have any connection, it doesn't have identification of the individual, then that generalized, or in novice term, from personal information, if it becomes non-personal or other than personal or anonymized data or pseudonymous, not pseudonymous, anonymized data, then it is still valid. Yes, that is of no problem in the RTI Act also, but it is not concerned. But however, to bring in harmony, this is my last slide. So then we will open up for question. We will have sufficient time. There is need of defining personal data in line with section 328. Easy way is personal data here means as defined under section 328 of PDP Act. That can be one of the amendments in the RTI Act. Another one, sensitive personal data is also important. All others will get covered there automatically, but data fiduciary also need to be defined. So there, if that done, along with override section 96, so that there is uniformity with little scope for ambiguity. That's what I opine as on today after going through them. In fact, I am writing the article for this month's release of our Novice magazine. So in that, this I have given as an exposure to you, so that if there is anything I can improve myself, I will be very, very happy. And I'll end my slide as usual with this. Your right is only to perform your duty. You do not have right to expect any consequences thereof. You should neither be motivated by the fruits of your action, nor should they encourage you to be inactive. Be active. With this, I complete my talk today and open up for question answers, please. Yeah, it's your time, sirs.
So everyone wants to know about the case you wanted to.
One second.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm trying to come to full screen. I am little.
In the chat box, you have got the link.
Huh?
In the chat box, you have got the link.
Yeah, I'm coming, sir. I'll come out. 1 second. More. Yeah. Chat box. Oh.
Mr. Navi had already given a link, sir. Whether that's what to answer the query. Yeah.
No, chat box. I'm
Okay.
forgetting myself to how to open.
No problem. It is very.
The old age has taken me over.
No, bottom menu in Zoom.
In the Zoom, you have the bottom, sir. Bottom in your screen. Next to the.
I'm not able to have full screen. Let me open it for full.
So
Yeah,
do me
1
a
second.
favor. Can you press the escape probably? Press the escape button. It will help you. It will come back to that half a screen.
That one, same thing.
Yeah.
It's not at all opening up. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't worry. You can read the questions. I'll try to answer. That will be better.
Yes, sir.
So
Actually, that people participant were looking at the case study what you mentioned,
Yes.
and Mr. Navi had already given the link related to that in the chat window. Yeah. So beyond that,
Yeah.
there is no specific question per se at this stage. Team, any question we have for Mr. Sir?
Yeah, please do ask me. I don't know. The full screen has gone. Narayana.
Sir, Meena
Ah.
Lal here.
Yeah. Tell me,
So-
Meena.
Sir, what I want to say, because you're writing an article,
Yeah.
therefore, what I want to say is both the laws, the RTI Act as well as the PDPB bill, has provisions of notwithstanding whatever. So both the laws have
Yes.
overriding effect. Now, possibly what you may wish to touch upon is how does the judiciary interpret or reconcile two laws having similar provisions of overriding effects? Because there are various judgments
Yes.
which will tell us. So those are the tools of interpretation
Yes.
which need to be applied just in case that RTI Act does not
Yes.
get soon amended after PDPA comes into existence.
Yes. Yes, madam. I'll take your suggestion. That's the approach which I've already looked into in my article. My article is bit elongated, narrow. It is not a simple one. Here for my discussion, I have given only 45 minutes, but it will be around minimum 15 pages. You may have to struggle to read it like my earlier article. So it will be having full details you will get this kind of comparison in 2 paras. I have already made a space for it. I am very,
Nice.
very happy. Your position is well taken. We
See,
shall look
one principle which we may have to consider is
Sir.
that if PDPA is a specialized act for personal information,
Yes.
anything connected with personal information, PDPA should have the primacy. Anything connected with other information, right to information will have its own stand. Plus, whenever there is a clash, the information commissioner, who is also a data fiduciary under PDPA, will have to create a harm audit report, and he has to justify his action.
Yes.
He has to say that by
Yeah.
not releasing this, I am hurting somebody else. Or
Yes.
by releasing this, nobody else is being harmed. So I am going to take this right to information as the important thing. So he has to document his decision by evaluating the pros and cons of his accepting the right to information request or others. And still, if there is any dispute, I prefer, if it's personal information, PDPA should get the, importance, because it's a later act, specialized act.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sir, my answer to this is, this should not only happen at the CIC level. There is a third party where they have to give under section 11. At that time, if the privacy information had to be given, there he has to discuss about the harm, because the officer who is representing in the RTI is also a fiduciary, part of the fiduciary activity. So we need not go to CIC at this level itself, at the basic level itself, initial level itself. He has to, when he makes the order, today, as on today, is talking about whether it's a private matter can be given or shared or not. Now he has to go for a harm audit, and whether it will harm or not, those things he has to discuss, because he is also fiduciary. And therefore,
in fact, in PDPA 2018, PDPA 2018, there was a separate amendment proposed for Right to Information Act, which of course was vehemently opposed for political gains, and then they have dropped that amendment. But of course, that amendment was not required at all, according to me. So this situation remains as it is.
Yes, you are right, sir.
Hello.
My PPT also, I will share it with you, that if other suggestions are there, it can come through Telegram. I will take it so that I will improvise myself, learn those new things.
Yeah, but this fight between right to information and right to privacy is eternal fight. Okay, it will continue. Okay? It will not be resolved.
Because of that fight only we can survive.
So depending upon the mood of the judge, perhaps one case will go this side, another case will go on the other side. Okay. Exactly. Because consistency is not the hallmark of our courts. So that is what I have written today in navi.org. My lawyers may don't like it, but it all goes by the intelligent arguments put across by the clever lawyers, and so it can go either way.
Sir, Srinivasan,
not only in respect of privacy, in respect of all matters.
In all matters,
criminal case. At the lower court, he convicts them. At a high court, he releases them. Again, Supreme Court, they hold them as convict. And even though they are convicted, they never face the situation, because same situation will come. Our today's performance of courts are really very, very bad. We can say straight away. Absolutely. No hesitation. The amount of pendency, the amount of credence they are giving to their functioning is really very, very bad and dangerous to this democracy also. The pendency is really a dangerous situation.
So I had a question, sir.
Please do ask, because I am not able to go for full screen. My son is also not there to help me. I have forgotten Zoom.
MG sir, thank you so much. Srinivasan, thanks for the nice session, sir. Sir, Navi sir, just not a question, a clarification for me. What was that section 96 actually means? Which MG sir representing? Like it says it should not be inconsistent with other laws, or?
I'll read it for you, sir. I think no. How to make full screen, sir? That's the first question. Here I am reading the chat box has come, record on computer, record full screen is not at all
No,
there.
it would be there, sir.
Okay, don't worry, but I will
Go to the
attach
menu. No, you go to the menu and then click on this icon once
I'll
again.
share this, share the PPT. I'll read the
Sir,
reconciliation for you.
Godandam sir. Godandam sir,
Please.
can you please go to the top? You will have a menu called meeting. There is something called first option, exit to full screen. Can you please check that? Go to the
Here.
top on that top, the second menu after zoom.us. The second menu is
View
called as
options.
meeting.
No, actually there is participants.
Okay.
View
More
options.
is there.
View options will be there.
View option.
Yeah.
Sir, first he has to come out of that exit full screen. So which is available as part of the meeting menu. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
First one comes mute.
But anyway, your
here.
presentation is visible now. So you go to the particular
okay.
slide.
If the job is done, that's happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, this is the section you are looking into, the overriding section. I will read it for you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Clause 96 or section 96, save as otherwise provided in this act. The provisions of this act shall have an effect, notwithstanding anything inconsistent therewith, any other law for the time being in force, or any instrument having effect by virtue of any law other than this act, means this will predominantly be applicable in those laws. So this will override the RTI even if they want to give privacy. People who are handling RTI information, before looking into the information that to privacy belonging to a third party, they will have to look into PDP bill and those provisions. If they are acceptable, then public interest can be looked into, then information can be given. Otherwise, if it is causing the harm and privacy of an individual, that should not be given. PDP bill will be predominant there. That's what this section is expected to tell us.
Super,
Is it
sir.
clear,
Thank you.
sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, this one is section 110 or 96 because I saw
Just
the
check up.
PDP.
I may be just
No, 96. I checked it. 96.
96.
It is correct only.
Thank God. Thank God.
In PDP
Because I'm
bill
having
that
2018, 2019. I might have done.
Sir, Deepak here. I had one question, and pardon my ignorance on the law part. So, in the current context, can a government official withhold any personal information from being shared as part of RTI, citing any of these court judgments?
Yes. We have held plenty of cases are there. In fact, I will tell you the journey of the RTI Act. When RTI Act came, everybody was afraid. In fact, this was more so in the state government. I remember Dr. Sajjan, who was the commissioner, information commissioner in Karnataka. He said, our Karnataka officers are going away on leave as soon as the RTI application comes. Kodandram, you have to do something. You are teaching RTI in nation, please come. I had the opportunity to go to Vikal Sodha. Then I answered nearly around 10 workshops we did. We told them what is that information is not to be given is much more important. How to read what information should not be given and what should be given. First, segregation, how it should be done. And what are the parameters? What is meant by personal information? What is meant by sovereignty, court order? And if there is a case law by a CIC or a High Court or a Supreme Court, that can be quoted as a precedent and you can reject. Absolutely no problem. Don't think that. In fact, the one case he was saying, sir, he is telling why I am not selected. He's asking. I said, it is not a forum for the RTI. RTI Act is there to give information as available. If the information is available, please take it. If the information is not available, it is not there. Simple as that. Why you are not taken action? What is your opinion? All that are not it's only information as available in the records. If there are no information available. That's it. How you have to handle RTI. So we brought a lot of courage there and thereon they improved. But all of them were looking at the containers. I told you, Oh, it's a logbook we have to give. I said, gentlemen, if it is a logbook pertaining to my preventive right, my secret rights, how can you disclose? You cannot. There, you should look into the contents. That's how I brought them the information. There is an investigation going on. Immediately, some fellow interested will ask for some information. These people give that out, saying that it's available, sir, in the note sheet. I have to give it. No, just because the note sheet is there, you don't give. What is there written in the note sheet? Whether that can be givable under section 8, 9, 10. 9 I did not quote. Severe. Only what is relevant should be given, not unnecessary things which are all barred from 8. So that provision is also there. So where we try to give them the information, in fact, it took really a lot of time for our officers to get trained in this. Even last week I spoke to Mumbai. They said, sir, we have already given this information. I said, it is not to be given. Why did you give it? For example, a company has asked for information. These people have given. I said, company is not an applicant at all. He must be an individual citizen. You can question him if you have doubt about his country's integrity. You can ask him which country you belong. You give me Aadhaar number to prove that you are in India. So only Indian, because he is the person who is ruling this country. Citizen-centric activity. Citizen is the ruler. The representation of the citizen is an MP or a MLA. Whatever MLA, MP can ask, even citizens can ask, and therefore such information which are not barred under section 8, 9, 10 can be given. So that's the RTI Act for you, sir. So it is not something whatever is public authority can be given. Never, never that.
Got it, sir. Got it. Thank you, sir.
So I want to say that until this session, I would have claimed my right to information and right to privacy meekly. After your authoritative session, I would seek them with full authority.
Very good, very good.
So they are not antagonizing each other. They are complementing each other. Like that we should read. That's what my approach is all about today. Rights are not clashing. They are one with the other.
Any other question, everyone? So I would like to request Miss Meena Lal to give the vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Shalini. Sir, at the outset, I would wish to say that you per se are such an inspiring personality that, age doesn't matter to you. What only matters to you is learning, is what I have seen through my interactions and attending some meetings in FDBPI. That's truly amazing. And I think, sir, the flame of learning must go on in your life. And that is where we will actually keep enriching from your passion. And friends, let me tell you, it's truly a passion. Why I say so is because Mr. Kodandaram has put in a few slides what he wants to talk about. And probably he would write 15 pages in his article. But believe me, he is dealing on a subject which has been encapsulated by Supreme Court in its judgment in 250 pages. So there is a 250-page judgment of Supreme Court, which he has gone through. And there are various other references in that judgment when Mr. Kodandaram wants to understand the interplay between RTI and PDPB. So, sir, it's really very, very heartening to see that you have this drive, this passion of going through such lengthy passages. And I know in your career also, you would have had to deal with such lengthy issues, and therefore the passion survives. I'm sure, and I hope on behalf of all of us, that this flame of learning will continue as far as you are concerned, so that the flame of reaching that out to us also continues in the same way. Thank you very much, sir. It was really a very enriching session. Thank you very much.